What's up guys and welcome to FPL Today. I'm the man in the know, JNO, and welcome to my team for Game Week 36 Transfer Thoughts, where we go over the decisions I have to make going into Game Week 36 and give you the general thought process into the transfers and my general strategy in the game, hopefully to help you guys out. So if you do have any dilemmas of your own, please do feel free to put them in the comments down below. I will try and reply to as many of them as possible, and let's get on with the video. And we start off with fires to put out, where we look at the issues I currently have looking at my side and what I should potentially do about them. And we only have two. That is partly because this game week 35 that is currently ongoing, isn't of course over yet, and I have a lot of players that still are to play one extra game. However, we have Vardy to stay or go. He has played all of his games in Game Week 35. He was always planned to go out after Game Week 35. However, it's very difficult for me to transfer him out, and you'll soon see why. And then also, do I triple up on City? Because the way I was going to triple up on City has now been taken away from me because of Kevin De Bruyne's injury. So we'll have a look at that as well. However, first we look at the fixtures, and the fixture ease top teams has changed slightly because we now only have 3 games left in the Fantasy Premier League season, and no team has an extra game. There's no more double game weeks to surprise us with. So we have a bit of a change in the list of teams here. We have Southampton still top of the list, however, with Bournemouth at home, West Ham away, and then Huddersfield at home, which are decent fixtures. Bournemouth, of course, is a bit of a derby. That could be a good one as they are at home. West Ham, you never know what West Ham you're going to get, but if you get a weak West Ham, then Southampton could prosper. And then, of course, Huddersfield, who are already relegated, are their last opposition. Then we have Palace as the second one with Everton next. Everton, however, are in form, but it is at home for Palace. Palace's home record isn't actually that good, so that might not be the best fixture to jump onto the assets for. Then it is Cardiff and Bournemouth after that. Then we have Arsenal, who only have Leicester, Brighton, Hove Albion and Burnley next and are chasing for one of those top 4 spots. Fulham do have good fixtures, however they of course are also relegated, don't have much to play for, but the likes of Ryan Babel have been performing, and Mitrovic has recently got on the score sheet. With Cardiff, Wolves and Newcastle left, those are pretty decent fixtures for Fulham. Then we have the title race. Liverpool and Man City both have 3 good last fixtures, with Huddersfield, Newcastle and Wolves for Liverpool, and Burnley, Leicester and Brighton Hove Albion for Man City. It will be very interesting to see what happens in the Manchester derby, because that will decide who is leading the pack going into these last 3 game weeks. Then we have Tottenham also chasing top 4 with Arsenal, with West Ham, Bournemouth and Everton as their last 3. Also looking on form, but they do have the Champions League still to contend with, as do Liverpool, and Arsenal are still in Europa. However, Man City are out of all European competitions, so they have the Premier League to focus on. So very interesting turn of events as far as the fixtures go, and I would definitely be looking to at least get some players from Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City and Tottenham. I may miss out on Arsenal purely because the options I would want are rotation risks, but then Liverpool and Tottenham will also have rotation issues with them still being in the Champions League. Man City you'd hope would become a bit more predictable, but you never know with Pep, of course. So if we look at my team going into Game Week 36 at the moment with no transfers made, so far we have Hugo Lloris, which is a bit of a worry because he didn't play in the game against Man City on the weekend. However, I'm hoping he will still be available for Game Week 36 and I won't have to use a transfer on my goalkeepers. We then have Valery, Alexander-Arnold and Laporte as the 3 chosen defenders at the moment, with Bournemouth at home for Valery, Huddersfield at home for Alexander-Arnold and Burnley away for Laporte. However, we also have Kiko Firmino against Wolves at home and Dunk against Newcastle at home on the bench, which isn't too bad of a pair of fixtures for the 2 of them. We then have Son, Mane, Sterling and Deulofeu as my 4-man midfield, with Jota actually on the bench. Son has West Ham at home, Mane has Huddersfield at home and Burnley is the opposition for Sterling away, with Deulofeu having Wolves at home and of course Jota having Watford away. And then up front we have Jimenez against Watford away, Vardy against Arsenal at home and Firmino against Huddersfield at home, with our backup goalkeeper being Foster with Wolves at home. Now there's a lot of crossover fixtures there for a lot of my players, meaning I probably have only a few games where I'm actually going to get points out of the 10 games in the game week. Going into this game week, I was always thinking of taking Vardy out because the fixtures get a bit more difficult for Leicester moving into Game Week 36 and onwards. However, it is against Arsenal. Arsenal's defence isn't the best, and Vardy does like a goal against the big guns. Vardy's also been on some incredible form recently, and it's going to be very difficult for me to justify taking him out. If I don't take him out, who would I want to bring in? I always planned to triple up on Man City, however couldn't really bring myself to do it for Game of 35, which was lucky for me because Kevin De Bruyne was the one I was looking to bring in with Sterling and Laporte. That isn't likely to happen now, and the others I was thinking of transferring out, potentially Deulofeu, not necessarily been proving himself at home, has been playing better away from home. And then Jota was kind of there to take advantage of the double game week. Not sure he will be a long stay in my side, so those would be the potential other players to go if I was going to either save some money somewhere to bring in a bigger hitter, or if I was going to try and find a differential in some of the last fixtures to try and improve my rank. So we go to the first five to put out, and it's Vardy to stay or go. And on the screen we have the two options that I'm currently considering to swap out for Vardy. As you can see, both are cheaper than Jamie Vardy, because the idea is I'd then have money to go and get a big hitter from one of the big sides to bolster up my midfield. Now Vardy, however, is making it very difficult for me to transfer him out, because Vardy is currently 9 million, has 51 points from his last 6 games, 4 returns and 6 goals, 2 assists with 9 bonus points. Pretty sure every week I talk about Vardy's stats, but he's been that consistent recently that it feels like a travesty to even be considering taking him out of my side. 34 penalty area touches in the last 6 game weeks with 19 attempts on goal, 16 from inside the box with 9 on target. 7 big chances, 5 of which he's scored, 8 chances created with 3 big chances and an expected goal involvement of 4.54. Now the issue is the players I'm looking to bring in for him cannot match that. However, Ayoze Perez is pretty close at 6.1 million to matching that. Ayoze Perez has 47 points to Vardy's 51, 3 returns and 6, also has 6 goals and only 1 assist to Jamie Vardy's 2, but also has 9 bonus points, which is the same as Jamie Vardy. 35 penalty area touches is actually 1 more than Jamie Vardy, however attempts is 14 and from inside the box is 13, which are less. He's had 9 shots on target, the same amount as Jamie Vardy, with less big chances at 5 and less big chances scored at 3. However, the ratio of him scoring his big chances is similar to Jamie Vardy, and Newcastle have better fixtures. Chances created is at 7, which again is 1 lower than Jamie Vardy, and he's had no big chances created, and his expected goal involvement is at 3.30 instead of 4.54. And then the other option would be Palace, purely because of their fixtures. And the main man at Palace is Wilfried Zaha, 25 points, 3 returns from 6, 1 goal scored, 3 assists. He gets awarded a lot of penalties. 39 penalty area touches, which is better than both Perez and Vardy. However, only 9 attempts on goal, 7 from inside the box with 3 on target. 2 big chances, only 1 scored. 9 chances created, which is better than both Perez and Vardy, with 2 big chances created and expected goal involvement at 1.55, which isn't as good as the other 2. Those would be the 2 I'd look at, and I'd have to be very convinced that the player I was bringing in elsewhere if I needed to save money and take out Vardy. I just have a feeling he could still do the business against Arsenal. However, of course, part of me does want to consider an Arsenal player, and Lacazette and Vardy a nice, easy swap. But the thing is, I might not even need to save money to bring in a Man City player, because the triple on City was going to be Kevin De Bruyne. Now, the only player I'm really looking at in that midfield that I feel like is going to feature in a lot of the games and could potentially get me the points is Bernardo Silva. However, Bernardo Silva's underlying stats, let's be real, are nowhere near Kevin De Bruyne since he's come back. In the last 6 games they have played, the points return is actually very similar, 30 points to 27 in De Bruyne's favour, and 2 returns from 6, 1 goal, 2 assists. They're all equal on that front. However, bonus points is in Kevin De Bruyne's favour, but then when we get to the underlying stats, we can see a big difference. As far as penalty area touches, Bernardo Silva is head and shoulders above Kevin De Bruyne, playing more advanced, playing on the wing, 35 penalty area touches to 20. However, Kevin De Bruyne has had more attempts on goal, 16 to 11, but he's had less from inside the box, as Bernardo Silva's had 7 to Kevin De Bruyne's 5. They've both had the same amount of shots on target, however Kevin De Bruyne's had no big chances. Bernardo Silva's had 2, but hasn't converted any of them. Chances created, you're not going to beat Kevin De Bruyne in this category unless you're, I can't even think of anyone. 23 chances created in the last 6 games he's played in, compared to 15 though. Bernardo Silva's not doing bad on that front. Big chances is 7 to Kevin De Bruyne and 3 to Bernardo Silva, with expected goal involvement actually in the favour of Bernardo Silva at 3.27 compared to De Bruyne's 2.41. So potentially I don't need to save the money on Jamie Vardy. I could make a transfer elsewhere, which only saved me 1 or 2 million, and be able to bring in Silva for Jota or potentially Deulofeu. It's just, am I as convinced of the returns from Bernardo Silva as I was feeling with Kevin De Bruyne? With Kevin De Bruyne's potential injury out for the rest of the season, we don't know exactly yet, but it doesn't seem a wise time to be bringing Kevin De Bruyne in. Bernardo Silva seems the most natural selection for me to go with. And stats-wise, he's definitely there, but just the points don't seem to be ticking over as much. But at 7.6 million, it's not as big an issue as if I got De Bruyne and he wasn't getting those points. However, De Bruyne looked on fire in the last 6 game weeks, so it's a real disappointment that he is out. We'll have to wait and see if I do actually go for Bernardo Silva or not, because I do like the look of potentially bringing in another Spurs player. And also I feel like Arsenal could have a good end to the season, chasing that top 4 spot. So there's plenty of me to think about and a lot more fixtures in Game Week 35 to go before I make these decisions. Of course, if you want to know exactly what I've done before the deadline, do follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description down below. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button. Also subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also hit that notification bell so you know when my videos go live. Check out the various links in the description down below. And also thank you so much to everyone that voted me in the Football Blogging Awards. You guys make this channel as much as I do. So thank you guys so much for your support. In fact, you guys make the entire community. So you guys are just as much a reason for there being a best fantasy football creator category as us creators. So thank you so much. It's hugely appreciated by not just me, I'm pretty sure all of us. With all that being said, I've been JNO. This has been FPL Today. And remember, it's all about the game.